Imagine it's 1914. You're 19 years old. You've never left your village, but suddenly the world feels bigger, louder, and more dangerous than ever before. Newspapers speak of honor, duty, and quick victory. Politicians promise the war will be over by Christmas. Crowds cheer as soldiers march through city streets. No one truly understands that they are stepping into one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, World War I. At the beginning of the 20th century, Europe was filled with powerful empires competing for influence, land, and military strength. Alliances were formed like fragile chains connecting nation to nation. All it took was one spark to set everything on fire. That spark came on June 28, 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated in Sarajevo. Within weeks, alliance systems pulled country after country into the conflict. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Russia mobilized. Germany declared war on Russia and France. Britain joined after Germany invaded Belgium. What started as a regional crisis became a global war. Young men volunteered, believing they were heading toward adventure and glory. Instead, they found themselves trapped in trenches stretching across Europe. The Western Front became a long line of muddy, narrow ditches where soldiers lived for months at a time. Rain flooded the ground. Rats ran between boots. The sound of artillery echoed day and night. Letters home often hid the fear and exhaustion they felt. This war was different from any before it. Industrial, mechanical, relentless. New technologies like machine guns, heavy artillery, tanks, and aircraft changed the nature of combat forever. But the war was not only fought on land. The seas became battlegrounds too. Naval blockades and submarine warfare turned the oceans into dangerous zones. German U-boats targeted ships carrying supplies to Britain in an effort to weaken its economy and morale. In 1915, a British passenger liner, the RMS Lusitania, was torpedoed and sank, causing the deaths of nearly 1,200 people. The tragedy shocked the world and increased tensions between Germany and the United States. Merchant ships crossing the Atlantic sailed with constant fear, knowing that danger could strike without warning beneath the waves. For several years, the United States remained neutral, watching from a distance. However, continued submarine attacks and diplomatic tensions gradually shifted public opinion. In 1917, the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. Fresh American troops and resources provided critical support to exhausted forces in Europe. Slowly, the balance began to change. By 1918, after 4 years of devastating conflict, millions of soldiers and civilians had been affected. Entire regions were left in ruins. On November 11, 1918, an armistice was signed, ending the fighting. The war was over, but its consequences were only beginning. The Treaty of Versailles imposed severe penalties on Germany. Major empires collapsed, including the German, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. New countries were formed and borders were redrawn. However, unresolved tensions and economic hardship created instability that would later contribute to another global conflict. World War I was often called the war to end all wars. It reshaped politics, technology, and international relations. It changed how wars were fought and how nations viewed power and security. But beyond statistics and strategies, it was a human story of young soldiers far from home, of families waiting for news, of societies transformed by loss and change. More than a century later, the echoes of that conflict still influence our world. Understanding World War I helps us understand how the modern era began and reminds us of the profound cost of global conflict.
Hi, this video is for educational purposes and was edited and structured by me using AI tools.